Just a short story, my friends. It's quite short and it's called It Makes Me Cross. Thomas Crane sat by his fire on a wet, cold February night with his old sheepdog Ben. 25 years old and a bit of a loner, he was glad he was home in the warm. The television was boring him, so he turned it off and decided to have a cup of tea and then enjoy an early night. Since his old mother had died a year before, he was well used to just Ben for company and fairly content on this wild, windy road not far from Ireland in County Tyrone Ireland. He heard the car coming down the road from the top of the hill, and then he wondered why it didn't pass the house. Outside, Richard Hannigan was having trouble with his Mercedes-Benz, and when the lights and engine died, he wished he'd taken the main road to the motorway instead of cutting across the country through the lanes. He steered into a gateway and, putting his coat on, opened the bonnet of the car, but in honesty, even if he could see the engine, it was a maze to him. He had a head full of learning, but few practical skills. Thomas opened the door, and old Ben reluctantly left the fire and joined him. He could see the man with his head under the bonnet and could actually hear him muttering loudly despite the wind and the rain. He too put on a coat and grabbed his large torch and walked out to the gate. A fine night to have car trouble, if you don't mind me saying so. Richard managed to laugh and was glad someone was coming to him with a light at least. He explained what happened. Thomas said, "Well, I had one of those, but they're all the same, really." He made an examination in the light of the torch, then handed it to the car owner. "Hold that, I'll fetch some tools." "Do you know what it is?" "Aye, back in a minute." Old Ben sat at the stranger's feet and Richard gave him a friendly pat. "Clever man, your master," he said, "to know what's wrong so quickly." Soon Thomas was back with pliers and a screwdriver. "Throw that light over this side of the engine," he said. Nimble fingers worked for 5 minutes. "Right, get in and try her now." First touch of the ignition, she started and was running smoothly as breathing. What was it? Ignition lead. Where you going? Belfast. Will she be okay? Oh, aye, should be no problem now. Thanks very much, you're as good as an angel to me tonight. What do I owe you? Don't be daft, you owe me nothing. Safe journey now, but watch the next bend. The water lies on this side when it rains hard like this. Gratefully, Richard tooted the horn as he headed toward that bend. Thomas was grateful too, because though he was a bit of a loner, he loved it when he was able to help someone. The next weekend, Thomas was in his shed repairing somebody's car when Ben started to bark and he heard the Mercedes pull into his yard. Out got Richard with a bottle of Scotch whisky and a fine butcher's bone for Ben. "By way of thanks, I really appreciated your help." "You didn't need to, but thanks. I'll enjoy the Scotch and Ben will love you forever. Are you coming in?" "Yes, okay. I have to be at my mother's soon, but 15 minutes is fine." Richard was very impressed with the neatness of the small one-story house and the very bright decor inside. Soon the two men were sharing a cup of tea and Richard was asking the younger man if he farms. "Oh, aye. My father died before I left school. I farm a bit, but mechanic a bit. In that shed out there where I was working." "What about you? What do you do?" "Oh, me, I'm in the legal profession." "Oh, right. All that book learning scares the life out of me." "Haha. Well, machinery does exactly the same thing to me." While the two men talked, a postman came into the yard, and Thomas opened the door to take the post. One official-looking letter, which he opened, but threw on the table without reading. Soon Richard got up to leave. He said, "Thomas, here's a card with my phone number on it. If ever I can do anything to help you at all, you just call me." "Thanks. Actually, you could help me right now if you have 2 minutes." "Of course I do. What is it?" "Could you read me this? My father was always ill and I was needed here a lot. and I'm dyslexic anyway. I didn't get much by way of schooling. Richard tried not to look surprised, but took the letter from Thomas, glanced at it, and thought it was a most odd letter. Are you selling the farm? No. Well, let me read you this. He began to read. Contract of sale of Crane's Farm, Tullygalban, Ireland, County Tyrone, to include 39 acres of land, farmhouse and all outbuildings. Sale agreed and accepted. Cost £2,000. Date of exchange 23rd of the 3rd, 72. The signature of the buyer here is Paul Brandon. The signature of the seller is you, I imagine. Thomas Crane? Aye, that's me. The witnesses are J. Carlyle, whoever that is, and Michael Brandon. And the document of sale was drawn up by Maurice Carlyle, solicitor. But I've always refused, like my father before me, to sell this farm to the Brandons. And if I was selling it, it would be a lot more than £2,000, believe me. Oh, it would indeed. This house, your outbuildings, 39 acres of land. Did you sign anything at all lately? Well, I don't write really. I don't think so. Oh, aye, just one thing. That thing about the grant for new fences. What was that? A man at the door, I knew his face. I think he's a solicitor in Dungannon somewhere. He said he was acting for the council, and if I signed I'd get a grant for new fences along the main road there. I just put a T and an X, which is what I usually do. Like this. Richard held the document and pointed at the TX. Yes, that's my mark. Thomas, this is fraud. It's the 20th of February today, we've got a month. Are you happy to leave this with me? Yes, I wouldn't know what to do about it. Good, because I can fix this for you the way you fixed the engine for me. And don't worry, because you're going to be the winner here. It took a little time, but first of all there was a civil case, and Thomas was awarded £5,000 in damages. Then there was a legal case, and the fraud squad brought both Paul Brandon and his son Michael to court, and they were jailed for 2 years. In the court, on a separate trial, the solicitor Jonathan Carlyle was dealt with, and he was struck off for malpractice, and his wife was given a very stern warning for acting as a witness on that document. When all was settled, Richard, who was now a regular visitor at the farm, took Thomas out to the Cohanan Inn for a celebration meal. The two were an unlikely friendship now. They found they'd got things in common, like both of them had a shared love of wildlife, for instance. Richard's wife was present too. At another table, a solicitor from Ireland sat with his wife and said to her, "That's the man, Thomas Crane. I told you about the case. I'm so glad he was protected from fraud. But tell me, dear, how in the name of heaven did a man like that manage to have the Honourable Mr. Justice Hannigan, High Court Judge, fighting his corner?" Hannigan would have told him if he'd asked. What he would have said was this: justice is actually reaping what you sow. Thomas Crane is a decent man, and any kind of injustice makes me cross. Hope you enjoyed that little bit of fiction. Nice when people do reap what they sow though, isn't it? And we know everybody does in the end. Thanks for listening, my friends. See you next time. Bye now. Bye.